Hi vlog. It is time for my first episode of the Coming Clean series, where I am talking about the lore that has happened to me and what I've been going through either in the past, present, or the future. And I'm going to be giving you basically the tea, the holy grail tea of what I have learned through my trauma, mistakes, and the things that are aching my heart in this season of life. I am the Christian it girl, baby. This is Veronica, and this is episode 1 of Coming Clean. Today is a long-awaited video of my testimony of getting cheated on as a woman of God by a man that claimed Christ. What this episode is not is for gossip. This episode is for the validation of my story and the experience of what happened. I'm not here to slander anyone. I'm here to give the truth. I'm definitely here to give the truth, but I'm not making this video so that I can get a leg up. There are so many women that struggle with being just abused or cheated on or brutalized by a man that claims Christ. So all I'm here to do is explain my story, what happened to me, and basically how God has flipped my life upside down for the better. No one could have ever prepared me to be cheated on by a man that claimed Christ. And if you would have told me that my last relationship would have ended with being cheated on, I would have told you that you were a liar, because I was sure that that man and I were going to be married, but God had other plans for me. So I just want to explain my story and how I even got through that season of life, because it literally felt like I was being tormented by Satan for a couple years of my life after that relationship ended. I met my previous boyfriend on a Christian dating app, and it was the first week of the COVID shutdown. So life was so insane. If any of y'all remember that period of time, Lord help us all, how did we even manage? But I was so bored, and I just was like, I just want to distract myself from my world being flipped upside down. So I joined a Christian dating app, and I was on there for a couple of days and nothing was like happening. I was like, this is lame. And right before I was about to delete the app, I saw my previous boyfriend, and I was like, I looked at his profile. Y'all already know, within 2.5 seconds if you think somebody's attractive. I was on his profile for probably like a minute and a half because I was like, I can't tell. But I was just like, you know what? Why not? So then we matched, and everything was like fine and dandy and great. And we talked for just a while until one day I was like, I'm just gonna come and meet you. Mind you, he lived up in the mountains, and it was like an hour and a half drive to go meet him. And this was finals week. It was like, I think like a Sunday of the finals week. And I was so spontaneous. I was like, you know what? Let me just go meet this man. So I drove an hour and 30 minutes up into the mountains, and I met him. And for me, I remember meeting him. And from that point on, we were inseparable. And he was from out of state. He was actually going to a Bible college up in the mountains. And his character is what drew me to him. He was super devoted to Christ. He had lived a pretty worldly lifestyle, but then had made the decision to go to this Bible college and get a degree. And he became my best friend. Truly, he was somebody that I could rely on. And it almost felt kind of like a movie. The relationship that I had with him brought me back to a stage of innocence where we were like always having fun and laughing and going on adventures. Like we would randomly just be like, let's go drive like 2 hours away and just for the heck of it, just to go see like what's out there. And that like set my soul on fire, especially like being in college, being a college athlete. I wanted like an escape, and I felt like that relationship was an escape, and it was a good one. And it also was like a very godly one at that. So I was with this man for 2 years, and things got really serious really quickly. We did like semi-long distance. On the weekends, he would come down and stay at the family house. And then, when the week started, he would go back. And my family loved him. My family was really connected to him and trusted him. I come from a very broken home, which is another episode that I will be making for the Coming Clean series. But he was truly somebody that had my back and I had his. Around like a year and a half into the relationship, he talked about moving down to Denver to be with me. After he graduated with his degree, he just wanted something different. So after some arrangement, we, came to the consensus that he would move down to Denver from the mountains to be with me and start to really like prep our lives to be together. Around that same time, he had asked my father for my hand in marriage. My father approved. Again, everybody trusted him. Everybody loved him. Everybody knew that this was going to be my person. So in March of 2022, he had moved down to Denver to be with me. And only to find out a month later that he had a sexual experience with a girl up in the mountains in January of 2022. What he told me is that it was a one-time thing. I still to this day have no idea if that is the truth, but if I'm going to believe him, it was a one-time thing. So I want to tell you guys about the moment that I found out that my ex was cheating on me, because it's a very interesting experience. So I used to do secondhand selling, and I would do like pop-up shops, and I did a pop-up shop in Denver, and I asked my ex if he could please like help me pack up and tear down from that event, just because it's a lot to do with like alone. So he came, he helped me pack my car, and he said like, okay, like let's go get some food. So we went to In-N-Out, and we were joking, laughing while we were eating the meal. And I think that this is what is so interesting, is that I had no idea that he was going to confess that he had cheated on me. So after, we go back to, I think it was my car. Yes, we had driven separately. So we go back to my car, and we sit, and he looks at me and he says, Veronica, I have something to tell you. And he was like silent for like 10 seconds afterwards. And I was like, okay, like I had to be like, okay, like what do you have to say? And he says, Veronica, I cheated on you. And I'm sure you guys can imagine how far taken back I was. I was stunned. My jaw was on the ground. I was like, what? And I asked him some questions about it, like, when did it happen? What did you do? And he told me all the information. And I looked at him and I was like, I just want to let you know, like, the Lord is with me and the Lord is going to take care of me. I need you to get out of my car. And he got out and I drove home. I remember when I pulled into my home and I was in complete and utter shock. Like my jaw was on the ground. I called my best friend at the time and I was like, my ex cheated on me, and she was completely shocked. And I remember I didn't even tell my dad until the next morning, because I got home late. It was probably like 11 p.m. And I was like, I don't even remember if I slept. Like, I don't even remember. But I remember going into my dad's room in the morning and being like, yeah, my ex cheated on me. And my dad could not even register what I had just said. And I just remember for 24 hours, I didn't even cry. I didn't cry, and I couldn't cry. I remember going, if there's any Denver locals, I remember going to Pindustry the following evening with my best friend and laughing our butts off because I couldn't cry. I was still in so much shock. But when I tell you that flung open the floodgates for the next maybe a year and a half of utter and complete desolation and pain. I almost feel like I have to like make this into a part 2 because it's just so much. And I'm very new at YouTube, so please give me some grace. I might have to do this in a part 2. But people along the way have been like, Veronica, he wasn't a man of God if he cheated on you. But I think that that's what's the scariest part about being cheated on, with a man who truly devoted his life to Christ is even men like that can fall short to lust if they allow the door open. Obviously, you know, we see King David with Bathsheba, and, you know, that was a man after God's own heart. It is terrifying that that can happen. And women also ask me, like, Veronica, why do you not struggle with idolization? After I got cheated on by my ex, it literally ripped the scales from my eyes of why you don't put men on a pedestal above Jesus, because any man, every man really, I would say, has capabilities of falling into lust if they do not have strong parameters and if they don't have strong boundaries when it comes to being emotionally vulnerable with other women, pornography, masturbation, anything like that. If you do not have repentance, and if a man also does not have the willingness to confess his lust, run. I'm so sorry, ladies. I probably am going to make this into a part 2 just because I'm learning about long form content. But I did get cheated on in 2022, and I wrestled with God for 2 years. And I wrestled with God deeply for like around 2 years of literally hating men to the core, not trusting men, being so disgusted by men, but also being lustful around men at the same time. I think it was a trauma response, but I have a very niche experience of being a woman of God, being cheated on by a man who claims Christ. And it does happen. We see pastors who cheat on their wives. You know, we see these men, we see so many men who cheat on their wives or their girlfriends or their fiancés for a good, short, easy time, for 15 minutes of pleasure, maybe that. And in part 2, I will be talking about my healing and the lore of my healing, because there's actual like tea behind what I went through after I got cheated on by a man who claims Christ. Because when I tell you, that was a knife to my heart that only God could heal, it truly was that. So thank you, ladies, so much for being a part of my Coming Clean series. I'm so excited to spend time with you guys in this series, talking about what I've had to endure as a young woman. I'm now 26, so that you can avoid my mistakes or even relate to them and we can push through together as sisters. So I love you, and I'll see you in part 2. And I will not wait 3 weeks to make another video. Promise. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.